others along the way. We'll fight corruption and character assassination, laugh at stupidity together, because there's always enough stupidity to go around. And most of all, we'll fight for facts. Tune in to The Ben Shapiro Show every day.
The Ben Shapiro Show, weeknights 6 to 8 on KWAM The Voice.
Here's Business Spotlight from your local voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. And here's your host, George Bryant.
Good morning and welcome to our Business Spotlight. It is Tuesday, and that means Let's Talk Growth with Traci Strickland, Triumph Bank. Welcome to our studios.
Good morning, George. How are you?
I'm doing great. Like you said, great sunset last night.
Oh, my
Beautiful
God. It was
spring
gorgeous.
morning.
I love when I get in my car and I'm going home, and I mean, it's hard to not look at that sunset when it's right in your face. And oh, my goodness,
beautiful.
I was very hopeful for pretty weather today, and I think we're going to have it. Our first 80-degree day. I'm ready.
I know. You're kind of in between jacket, sweaters, and T-shirts.
I know. Just layer. It's all about the layers.
That's
but,
right.
Oh, my gosh. Well, George, I'm always glad to be here. And we kicked off a great season last week with Bill Minkle, our market president.
Oh,
in
absolutely.
Nashville.
And tell us a little bit. You went to Nashville. You guys opened up a new branch.
We did. So after I got off the show with you, I got in the car, drove to Nashville. It was a gorgeous day again to get there to spend time with our Brentwood team who, I mean, when I talk about a team of all-stars, these bankers are so experienced. They understand that concierge touch on how to take care of their customer and just holistically be there for any kind of financial needs they've got. But we had over 100 people come into their new office, and just so proud of them. They worked so hard to make sure every detail was perfect. I do have to give a shout out to Mary Blair McCreary and Rachel Murray and Hannah McGraw. They were probably the ones that were running point on most of that, but they had this brilliant idea, and it was like, oh my God, it smells so good in this office. Well, they, for the dessert part of the food, they had a hot bun, honey bun station. Ooh. With ice cream, and all you could smell were these honey buns throughout the office, and it was just heavenly. But I do want to thank the Williamson Chamber, the Williamson County Chamber. They were so incredibly supportive of our event and helped write, publish some things on their social media. The Williamson Herald gave us a great article last week following that, but they probably brought 25 people alone, and we've had such great clients to be there to support. Some of our team in Memphis, of course, came up to be there. We had the official ribbon cutting. They presented a check to the Nashville Women's Shelter, and I'm just so proud to have them on the team.
What a great way to start. And to your point, you were talking about the chamber and how they were so helpful. And I just got to tell you guys, I know I work real strongly with a lot of the chambers throughout the Mid-South. And
right.
Chamber, you got to connect. If you're running a business, if you're operating, need to connect with your chamber.
That's exactly right.
I mean, what a great tool. And they become partners with you. And,
they do.
And so it's just a really good thing.
It's a very good thing. And it just, you've got to get plugged into your community. I know Will Chase, our CEO, I mean, he leads by example, as I've always talked about over the years. But he made a decision for our bank to become part of the chairman circle of the Memphis Chamber this year.
Right.
So he's able to sit on a couple of committees. One is a focus on business growth, and the other is economic development throughout the city. So he's getting to hear some great news that's happening across the city, and I'll bring him in a few weeks to talk about that. Opportunity for the bank to step in and act as a business partner with the chamber for that. And, he's got a heart for service, and it leads into really what I want to focus on today's show is it's National Volunteer Week. And, I always bring in our community partners. Volunteerism is just a essential part of our Triumph culture. It's
I know you guys, that's what I've always been so impressed, and you guys do a fabulous job of that. And we, during this segment, and all of our listeners will get to hear a little bit about that through this season. But you get to find out all the good stuff going on. I don't know what this community would be like without all the volunteerism.
It's essential. I mean, I was reading something the other day. There's anywhere from 1,000 to 1,100 nonprofits just in the greater Memphis area alone, which is a little overwhelming to think of the size of the city, Memphis, which is a great sized city. But, it's just there's so many nonprofits. The larger ones obviously get the spotlight,
Right.
just because of their size, and they have a little bit larger budget to work from. But I'm telling you, there's so many smaller nonprofits that are making just such a tremendous difference. And I'm seeing them cross collaborate and do some events together, which has been a great thing. And I've seen some of our community partners do, just some great work together. And so we'll touch on that. I've been real proud. I always keep track of the hours that our team gets to get out there and serve. Our board, probably 4 or 5 years ago, made a conscious decision to add as a benefit. We want to have our team out serving, and so we want it to be where our team can leave at least 8 hours during the year, and we never say no if they want to serve more. Depending on their role at the bank, obviously they have times where they can leave easier than others. I'm creating more opportunities. So if you can't go out and, person to person serve, if you can do some of the background work to help us with some of our projects, I'm getting them involved in that. But, our team did over 450 hours of service into the community. We always want to see that needle move and increase every year. So I know as we, come back, I want to spotlight some of our great community partners.
Yeah, because I was wondering, I would like for you to run through those because there are so many, and the ones that you do, I mean, I guess because of my connection and doing this segment with you, I know a little bit about them.
Yeah.
And they're all great, really cool stories behind, each one.
Oh my gosh.
And
Absolutely.
just really great things. But, helping the Mid-South, giving back, and from a business standpoint, it creates a really good connection with your community. And I think you guys do a great job with that. We're talking with Traci Strickland. She's the Senior VP of Marketing for Triumph Bank. Let's talk growth. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Looking for a cool way to get a new home comfort system without breaking the bank? The Advantage program from Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning gets you a high-quality home comfort system for one low monthly rate. There's no money down, never a charge for repairs, and seasonal tune-ups are free. Right now, get a new home comfort system as low as $99 a month and no additional charges ever. Call Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning today at 866-EXPERTS or visit ServiceExpertsMemphis.com.
For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS.
See website for license details.
Did Jesus promise to return within the first century generation? Discover why atheists, Muslims, Jews, and even some Christians believe that Jesus is a liar and the Bible is false. Join William Bell for discussion on the end times and Bible prophecy on the All Things Fulfilled Eschatology broadcast Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on KWAM 990 and FM 107.9. Listen on Facebook at KWAM The Voice.
And now back to Business Spotlight on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Welcome back to our studios. Just tuning in, it's Let's Talk Growth with Triumph Bank, one of our great local community banks. They have 4 locations now throughout the Mid-South to serve you, and also really big online. If you never want to go into a bank, you can do that.
We always ask them, sometimes I know Bill Minkle even said last week, he was talking to a great friend, and he's like, when's the last time you were at a bank? And inside a bank, he said, I don't even remember, like 10 years ago. I'm like, well, don't worry about where our branches are. We'll come to you.
That's right. And that's kind of where it's going. You guys are on the cutting edge. But the thing I like about it is that you've reserved that personal touch. I mean, your guys are there, and your team are always, just really friendly and welcoming and knowledgeable. I mean, all those things.
Absolutely. Well, we just want to be able to meet the client where they are. We just don't want to, coming into a bank to be another errand on their list, another thing to do, I think building a relationship with a banker. And, what I love about the size of, we say, Triumph is big enough to compete against all of the large banks as far as the technology goes and the lending capabilities and the bandwidth and all that. But, we really pride ourselves in that personal touch, where we're large enough to do all the big things, but small enough to be able to, we'll meet you at your office, we'll come to you. We want to make things so easy for you to bank with us, and that's what we want to impress. So, yeah.
Y'all do a great job. So if you're out there, if you're just now wanting to start a checking account, you need a loan for a business, if you want to buy a
Yeah.
new home.
If you want a HELOC, I had a girlfriend of mine text me yesterday. She said, "Hey, I think I'm wanting to redo both of my bathrooms and get a HELOC. Who should I call?" And I immediately just referred her to one of our private bankers. So, I mean, there's always those little needs, and you feel like if I don't have something big to do, a banker's not going to talk to me. Well, that's just not even the case. Just give us a call, and
Yeah.
we would love to, work with you.
So we're talking about volunteerism and having a servant heart is one of
That's
your
right.
terms, and
Yes.
so this is the week, volunteer week.
Right.
You guys do a great job. We wanted to go through and maybe list some of the people that you have reached out and connected with.
Yeah, I mean, we've grown that list a little bit. I mean, when I first joined the team in 2013, and we really started selecting partners a few months later, I was telling our CEO, Will Chase, I said, let's be real thoughtful in our decisions and not rush, because I mean, we only have a team of 150 people. We don't have 1,000 people to go out and serve and make a difference. So instead of being a mile wide and an inch deep, I would always rather be an inch wide and a mile deep as far as the impact we can work with. So I think I talked about at one point we started a foundation for the bank in 2017, and there's 3 pillars that we like to focus on as far as the support we give because of our financial resources, mainly because of the expertise of our team members and our board. So we look at organizations that have one of 3 or a combination of all 3 needs, and that's financial literacy, education, or economic development. So we have brought on some guests from Binghamton Christian Academy multiple times. I mean, that's obviously our education focus and an economic development focus. We have an annual family day that we're scheduling in May, and that's where we really get to work with the teachers and the parents there, besides the wonderful little first grade class we get to adopt. But we also work with Advanced Memphis in South Memphis that works in 38126 and 38106. That's obviously more of a focus on economic development, but definitely financial literacy as well. We also work with Angel Street, Memphis. That's Jill Dyson and her team. It is an after-school music program and mentorship and leadership program for young women in North Memphis and also now in the Berkeley area. So that's an educational opportunity for us. A couple of others that we began giving grants to this year that we're going to dive into on the service side this year is Deneuve Learning Center. That is a women-only education program that is right on Cooper by the Fresh Market in Midtown, around Union and Cooper. It's a phenomenal program that it is multinational. You think about the people that you see day to day. You walk into Deneuve Learning Center and you will literally meet women at any time from 10 or more countries right there that hear about Deneuve. They want to be able to get their education. They want to get their GED. They want to take an English as a second language class. They provide all of that. It's an amazing.
So how does that international mix, just real, not to sidetrack, but,
No, right.
So you're in Midtown. Is it, is that an area where you seem to draw more from the international influence, or is it just spread out throughout the Mid-South?
I think it's spread out a good bit. I mean, obviously there's a great Hispanic culture within Memphis, but what I learned is because Deneuve is so small, they don't really have a marketing budget. She said we've never been able to place really an ad or a billboard or anything like that. So it's mainly word of mouth. They work within the faith community a good bit. And so they reach out to churches and synagogues, and then word just gets by. So they try to, they're positioned really close to a bus stop, so that's really important. So the women, they can also bring their children, which is incredibly important when they've got babies with them. And most people, you can't go to class if you got a baby around your neck, but they provide the daycare for the children. It's a very unique place. We've loved that initial relationship with them. We also work with the Junior League of Memphis. I also serve on the board of the Junior League, and it's a phenomenal group for women to join if you just want to learn about volunteerism. We have a focus on developing the potential of women and women leadership training. We just had a Memphis Women's Summit A couple of weeks ago, we brought Dominique Dawes, who was the Olympic gold medalist
Yeah.
in gymnastics a couple of decades ago, come and speak. But it's a wonderful group. They work in the Binghamton and Berkeley area, creating our own programs, but also establishing Junior League nationwide programs like Kids in the Kitchen throughout the city. So I'm real proud to serve on the board there. And then Streets Ministries. Many of us have heard of Streets. There's one on Vance, but we've been working with the group in the Berkeley area on Graham. We are supporting. It's a literacy education program for the 3rd and 4th graders. They have through SUCOT. They have this reading and literacy program through the next door building of Sukasa Ministries. And so they have volunteers go over there and just read to the kids and teach them fluency in their reading. Salvation Army, I think that's what was one of my parents' favorite nonprofits, and they've always talked to me about that. But the Memphis group, Zach Bell runs that down on Jackson Avenue, and just what a phenomenal outreach that they do. They have within their headquarters down there, they house, I forgot how many homeless women and families there. So we're going to be sponsoring a summer camp for the kids. You know, if you're homeless and you literally are wondering where your next meal is, literally the last thing a child is going to ever experience is a summer camp. Like all of our kids get to do, George. So, I mean, to be able, we're fully sponsoring that. We'll have volunteers go and get to know the kids and build relationships with them. And then Catholic Charities is another fantastic group. Former Mayor Dick Hackett is the executive director there. They work with the homeless as well. Just so many different groups just do phenomenal work in the city.
Yeah, you guys are, it's amazing. I guess whenever you were talking about the street ministry and different ones, we had one the other day on Mary Beth Connolly's show, and this guy is on bikes. Greg, do you remember what it's called? Something bikes, meals for, it's cute little, you know, meals for bikes or whatever, but they meet down in the mornings, pack up on their bikes because they want to be able to get into close to the you know, the people, and they take meals and they hand them out.
That might be part of Catholic Charities. That sounds like something. I know they put homeless bags together, and so you can, you know, all of these type of groups. You know, if you're listening today and you're thinking about, you know, I've always, you know, I get so busy with work, family things. I just really don't know where to start. I would say listen to your heart. I mean, what are you most passionate about? Is it you know, education? Is it children? You know, is it, you know, whatever it might be? Is it homeless? There are so many resources out there that can point you into the right direction. A group like the Junior League of Memphis, if you're a female, it's great because we do work in so many different areas. You can start and work one area 1 year and then switch and do something else the next. But all of them, you know, you can have ongoing volunteer
Isn't there
service.
a website, Volunteer Memphis, or
There
some-
is,
something
yes.
like that?
Volunteer Memphis. There's, I'm blanking on. We'll follow up. I'll put a link on there for some other volunteer groups.
Because there is, like you said, there's a lot of, you know, and you can
There's
just
tons of
Google it
them.
and reach out. We were talking about the Levitt Shell. They're always needing volunteers to help with that. It's all
Absolutely.
community. And this bike meals thing, the guy said, yeah, just show up in the morning with a bike and, you know, and help us out. So, you know, a lot of times it's no real commitment. It's just jumping in. But
Well, I mean, it's just so true. And I think one thing I want to spotlight is a newer opportunity that we've got. And I want to thank you, George, because you made the connection for us. I had gone out for a tour 3 or 4 years ago, and we brought one of the kids' artwork piece to our Germantown office, and we hang that there. But it's the Carpenter Art Garden.
yeah, it's a great little.
George, you introduced me to Henry Nelson, who has such a familiar name, and when you hear his voice, you've heard him on the radio over the years. And Henry's just a fantastic guy, and he's the executive director now over there at Carpenter Art Garden. And it's in the middle of the Binghamton neighborhood that we serve so much time. And we got to talking about them. If you've seen the grizzly hearts in people's yards or the Lebanon hearts, that's where they come from. It started with one little house. They call it the Purple House, that they have, you know, after school art programs. for kids that just, they need, number one, a safe place after school to come.
Right.
Number two, they don't get art in the classroom anymore in so many public schools. So it provides both of those.
These
and
kids
now
blossom.
it's
The
real.
influence of art and,
Yes.
and some structure in their life. It's amazing.
Oh, it's incredible. Some of these kids are so talented, but it's such a great therapy vehicle. If they're feeling something, they can get it out in their artwork, and it's a safe place. And they do have gardens. I was blown away a couple of months ago when Henry gave me a tour, and it's not just the Purple House anymore. They have a house across the street where they repair bikes.
I know.
They have like pottery classes. They do sewing. They make quilts. They have 2 community gardens right there on the street that grow vegetables for 5 really well-known restaurants in town. So it has grown phenomenally in the past few years, and we're just so excited to be.
Can I tell
be a
my
part of
story
it.
about how that all happened
Yes,
real quick? Do you think we
exactly.
have time?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Cool. So anyway, real quick, I wanted to get the kids to maybe create a contest to do art for me for my Christmas cards last year, and so we created a contest, and there was a little bit of money involved, and so when that came time for me to pay up, I was asking Henry. I said, well, should this be cash or write a check or whatever?
Yeah.
And so that started the conversation where he goes, well, that's my next project.
Wow.
Is we need to be able to get them introduced to checking, banking.
That's right.
That. And
That's
then
right.
I said, well, you know what? I know someone who's got a
I know somebody who works at a bank who might make this happen. So yeah, you made that connection, and here's the exciting thing is all these little kids have grown up in the Binghamton area coming to Carpenter Art Garden. They've been growing up around it. Now these kids are growing up and they're teenagers needing employment to help support their families, basically. So Henry's put together this phenomenal teen jobs program where I believe he's paying the kids $15 an hour. After school, I think 3:30 to 5:30.
Well, sign me up.
I know, that's pretty good wages. And then during the summer, I'm assuming those hours will expand. But George made that introduction for us to talk with them. So we are actually next week presenting them a grant to help fund this teen jobs program and help pay the wages of these kids that.
Henry is just on top of the world.
It's just an exciting thing for us, and then it takes us a step further because, in our volunteerism, yes, we have a foundation. Yes, we can write grant checks, and we're so proud and honored to do so. But then we want to be able to back it up with, how can we serve and work with the organizations that we support. So we are working on. I'm actually going over there Thursday, and to meet some of the kids, but to develop a small group mentorship opportunity for our team to come in on a regular basis, give some personal financial management tips.
Isn't that so cool?
Get them open their first checking account and get them some really great base training. So we're thrilled. Yeah.
That is just so awesome. Traci Strickland with Triumph Bank. Traci, what a great show. We talked about National Volunteer Week, and you guys set the example.
I hope that maybe has inspired a spark in somebody. If you haven't served or volunteered in a while, just to pick up the phone or Google something in Memphis and find a great new organization to plug into. You will not be sorry.
Let's Talk Growth every Tuesday right here at 7:30. We'll be back next week. Traci, thank you very much.
Thanks, George. Have a great week.
You too. You're listening to The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.